I'm on this side.
Yeah, it's right.
Somebody who'd seen the agenda said, make sure you bring snacks to this meeting, which I always ate a
It's
late
must be
lunch.
some real sheep herder or whatever, cat herder here gets these things done.
Well, I only have this many questions.
Oh, that's all. Okay, very
All
good.
right, well,
No, it's fine.
that's 2 pages less than I have.
Oh, there you are.
I only have a coffee. That sounds like. that's probably-
We'll make up for it.
If we don't pay attention to them, we shouldn't be here. You know.
Well, and I actually was doing some of them because holy moly, 18, are we
18,
recording?
Yeah, well.
I
Gonna start with-
was on a DSNY containerization. There was a presentation on that today. Which was more about smaller buildings, but it was also like
Welcome.
the issues, yeah, but it was like the issues I raised were like, oh, we're gonna work that all out. You know, with the pilot,
Oh, so the pilot's going good.
yeah. We'll see.
You don't like it?
Try to understand it.
It's there, everything has to be done. Like,
I am concerned
She's not.
about.
Can't imagine why she doesn't have another meeting.
So Sandy, I was like, why don't you stick around for another 2 hours?
The bearings, if they have no
I don't
holes.
know how she does it. I know you Kyle pretty well. I mean, sure.
A lot.
And they will be ready to come out if there are holes, and if there are holes, the rest will come in.
They're not designed.
I really am.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so, no.
Everyone
Oh, yeah.
Just
attending
have-
is here.
Back to it.
Yeah.
So anytime we're ready.
And I said I don't know the deadline before, I'm
A
happy to
day.
say that.
Okay.
I decide
You ready to
what
start?
I get first,
Yeah,
then I'm-
Okay.
yeah,
Where are we here?
I'll share the email.
yeah, please. I mentioned it.
Okay, welcome to the March 27th, 2025 meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee. My name is Anton Malner and I'm the chair of the committee. Tonight, we are joined by District Manager Jesus Perez and Community Coordinator Brian Lafferty. The meeting is called to order at 6:34 p.m. As a reminder, New York State law requires all committee members who are not able to attend the meeting in person to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until time the meeting is adjourned. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. Members of the public who are here in person, you can raise any questions that you have by raising your hand. If there is time following the committee's discussion, we will field questions from the public. Anne has kindly volunteered to take minutes tonight. Thank you, Anne. Okay, we'll take attendance by roll call. Brian Lafferty will conduct the roll call.
Committee members, I will call your name. When your name is called, please stay present. I'll announce if there is quorum. Paige Judge. Thank you. John Keller.
Present.
Thank you. Anton Mulder.
Present.
Thank you. Ann Seligman.
Present.
Thank you. Justin Goldberg.
Present.
Thank you. David Lowenstein.
Present.
Thank you. With 6 of 9 members, we have a quorum.
Great. Okay, you wanna put up the agenda? Okay, the agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and is reflected on the screen before you. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the agenda, please raise your hand. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. Okay. The minutes for the February 27th, 25 meeting are under review. They will be considered at the next Business Affairs and Licensing Committee meeting. Okay. Some ground rules. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. One, no one may speak until granted the floor. Two, committee members who are here in person, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and I will identify you so you can speak. Committee members unable to attend in person, if you have a question about committee business, you may raise your hand through Zoom and I will identify you so you can speak. All committee members, it is extremely important that only one person speak at a time so that members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said by each committee member. The chat function for committee members present via Zoom should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us of any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Okay, tonight's agenda, first item, Roadway Cafe license for 179 Third Avenue LLC, doing business as, I guess, Folia at 179 Third Avenue. I do have some questions here. Is there somebody present for Folia?
Me. I'm online. My name is Gina Escalante and I'm here to represent Folia. And I am working for the SWA architectural firm.
I saw on the schematics, on the DOT application that you didn't include the sidewalk seating, which you do have currently. Are you intending to, go to DOT to have the sidewalk seating approved?
Yes, but they are separate applications. That's why today we're just reviewing the roadway.
All right, I don't have any questions. Committee, Ann?
So I just was really taken aback by how many seats there are on both the avenue and the street side. I mean, 64 seats is what it looked like to me. It's a lot, and literally, I don't know. I'm not sure this is our purview, but I don't know how you fit 4 two-tops in an 8-foot space. Other applications have 3 two-tops kind of space. I was also a little concerned that on the 17th Street entrance, the tree pit looks like it might be blocking the entrance to the roadway cafe. So that's kind of 2 different questions.
Okay, well, clearly you can see that it takes a little bit of a space on the roadway, but you still have some space in between the tree bed and the chair that is going to be located on the left side. We applied for the maximum amount of tables and chairs that could fit and have the waiter ale still functional for serving all the tables. But on site, the restaurant might not have as many tables as shown on the drawing, because probably they're gonna wanna have a little bit more space to move around. But the initial application was made to meet the maximum capacity that the restaurant could have.
So, I mean, you don't anticipate people climbing over tables to get into the inner seats?
I'm sorry?
You don't anticipate people climbing over tables to get to the inside seats? Like, it's ridiculous the way it is now. Sorry, that was a statement, not a question. And the tree pit does not block the entrance on 17th Street. There is like,
We can make comments.
there's a couple of feet there, like it just kind of looks like
They have at least 20 inches, and the minimum for a waiter ale is 18 inches.
okay.
Okay. Are there any questions from members of the public? And do I hear a motion to approve?
There's a
I
hand.
do see a hand raised.
But
Oh,
it's
you
been,
do?
up- it's been up for a little while.
Yeah, shall I?
Yes,
allow
I'm
them to
sorry.
speak? Yasmin, Felix, I'm just going to promote you to panelist. Yasmin, you should be able to unmute.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh,
To make sure that I'm part of today's meeting, Hello Wine Bar.
Yes, you are on the agenda.
Perfect, that was it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I see there's another hand from Kathleen Collins. Kathleen Collins, I'll promote you to panelist. Be able to unmute.
Sorry about that. Hi, I just had a question. Is there room for a person who uses a wheelchair to get into this side dining? Because I'm just looking at it and I don't know what the actual dimensions are there because I use a wheelchair and I was wondering.
So I'm sorry, are you wondering about accessibility for the outside space or for getting past it?
No, for the outside space right now on this part.
Okay, as per ADAD code, only 5% of the total seating is required to be ADA. And we have 3 seating spaces that are accessible for a wheelchair directly from the sidewalk to the shed. On 3rd Avenue, you can see we have 2 of them and 1 on 17th Street.
And will those seats be low down? Because I know sometimes they have these high tables.
Yeah, the restaurant will have to make sure that they provide the necessary tables and the space required for ADA.
And could you just tell me what is the actual part of the regulations of the accessibility guidelines that you're referring to that says it's 5%? I was just curious.
The ADA code?
Yes, because I mean I know there's like certain rules for like parking and that, but I've never seen anything about dining outside.
Yeah, it's on the DOT regulations. It says that the total amount of the dining out sitting, 5% of the total amount needs to be ADA accessible.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll look that
You're
up.
welcome.
Thank you. And I had another quick question. Do you have an accessible bathroom inside?
I need to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure they do. They must have.
Well, what they do and they
I'm
might.
asking right now so I can give you the answer.
Okay, because I've been to many a restaurant that is supposed to, but they don't. But be as it may. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. If you can just let me know, that would be appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Gina, is your firm representing any other roadway applicants here or
No.
around the city?
No, it's just this application.
Okay, thank you. Just want to know if they're advising
All right,
whether their
let's-
applicants should maximize.
do I hear a motion from
I guess policy.
the floor to approve this DOT application?
Motion to approve, is that what you asked for?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Second?
motion.
Okay. All right, unless there's any objection, we'll consider this motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have to do the rest though,
Yeah.
So
preferably before the voting.
Oh, yeah, that is the way it should work.
So we have
Reverse the motion.
a resolution recommending approval for a roadway cafe license for 179 3rd Avenue LLC doing business as Folia at 179 3rd Avenue. Whereas Gina Escalante, representative, Approval for the Business Affairs and License Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27, 2025. CP6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the dining area and NYC license application process. Committee doesn't have comments about the cafe's physical footprint or dimensions
Does it?
or about pedestrian flow.
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of the sentence.
Oh, sure. So I was just confirming that the committee doesn't have comments about the cafe's physical footprint or dimensions
No,
or pedestrian flow or potential conflicts with existing plant use. Curb use, including planters. Planting. No, okay. There were no comments for or against the application from members of the community. And there were no requested modifications. So therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representative at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 recommends approval of the above reference application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representative to the committee.
It's already happened, so.
Yeah, we had the votes, so.
I think I'd like to take number 2 and 3 together because it's the same organization.
Yeah,
Roadway Cafe license for East Drogheda Incorporated doing business as the Gem Salon.
Saloon.
Saloon. No, I thought under New York City.
Have a drink, get your hair done.
We do hair and nails.
Yeah, good.
Mani pedis.
Yeah, I
Man,
thought
I
under the
could use it.
regulations, you couldn't name any establishment saloon. For instance, that was the issue. with
Really?
O'Neill's Saloon at on the west side. They changed the name to O'Neill's Saloon. Am I mistaken?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess I am, yeah. Okay, that's for number 2. Number 3, number 2 was for Roadway Cafe, and number 3 is for a sidewalk cafe license. Are there any questions or comments from members of the community?
I don't see any hands raised. I'm sorry, Kathleen Collins has raised her hand. Kathleen Collins, you can unmute.
Sorry. Yeah, I just want to say, I think the Gem Saloon is a fantastic place because they have a beautiful, accessible bathroom, and the staff there is so accommodating to, I have found, to people with disabilities. There is just a problem with some of the tables. I know some of my friends have problems with the tables in that you can't like easily go under them. So maybe that's something they could think about in the future, to have some more clearance for legs. I don't know. And that's an issue I didn't even bring up with the other candidate, but that's something that they need to all look at, is to have leg room for people who use wheelchairs to get their legs under. So that's just something, a thought. But otherwise, I mean, I wish every restaurant and bar had the same bathroom accommodations they have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the community? Kathleen Collins?
She just went.
I'm sorry. Okay, I just have one question. Your sidewalk seating is only gonna be on the Third Avenue side?
Correct, because we have a enclosed cafe on the side street, so there's no room for seating.
Okay. All right. Oh,
okay. I just wanted to confirm that, on the, for the sidewalk cafe, the schematic says 10 feet, but it doesn't really look like it doesn't really look like 10 feet in the picture. I pictures, whatever, 1,000 words, but it can be a little it can be a little deceptive. And I also wondered, this is more a committee question. I did not see, they have a 4 AM closing. I did not see an approval from us for that. I saw no residue about that, but it may just be
Was this?
in the before
an
time.
SLA?
Yeah, a lot of the SLA resos, because there's so many of them,
Yeah,
are
yeah.
not up there.
Okay, good. But so you can confirm that it's 10 feet? Okay,
Yes,
Yeah.
the sidewalk is 14 feet, 8 inches. So we have to leave 10 feet clear there because it's the regional corridor. So we'll be using 4 feet, 8 inches for the sidewalk, which will be less than they were using before.
Right.
cool.
Brian, if you go back to the Google Maps, I'd like to point out something. All right. Let's zoom in on Third Avenue. Okay, each of those sidewalk squares is 5 feet. So it's at least 10 feet, and then they have the 4 feet next to the restaurant. So they do have sidewalk, passageway.
Good to know.
All right, do I see a resolution up that we can talk about and then take an acclamation?
Before we,
Yeah,
before-
Properly sequenced.
Jumping on matters.
And we got to do two separate ones.
What do you want me to do?
We can do one. and I
We can do
actually-
one, let's do one.
Yeah.
Ryan, might you move the little caption box?
Oh,
out
let
of
me
the
do-
way? You can just drag it up, I think. Yeah, or drag it out, up, yeah, up there's.
So. Sounds, I don't think that we should, did we have a motion? I'm sorry.
no, don't we?
Maybe we should do the motion after the resolution, or do you want to do the motion?
Well, he needs to know what to write in the resolution. so-
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Do I hear a motion?
Motion of no objection.
No,
Second.
no,
No,
motion to
approval.
approve
That's right.
both
Sorry.
of them.
Seconded.
okay,
Okay.
so then we have a resolution recommending approval for the sidewalk and roadway.
With the sidewalks.
License for East Brigada Inc. doing business at the Gem Saloon at 375 Third
For a
Avenue.
liquor license, that's no objection.
Whereas Michael Kelly, representative, and Robert Hall, is Robert.
Is there- Why is
As
there
well,
air?
Mr. Kelly? Robert Hall? is he- Oh, no, I do see that, yeah, okay. Representative appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27, 2025. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the dining out NYC license application process. So the committee doesn't have comments about the physical footprint or pedestrian flow or potential conflict with existing curb use. Whereas one member of the community had a comment in support. And there were no modifications. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representative at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025. And pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 recommends approval of the above referenced application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representatives to the committee.
Okay. And hearing no objections to the motion, it's passed. All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I'll be sticking around.
Okay. Item 4, sidewalk cafe license for 965 First Avenue. 965 First Restaurant Corp. doing business as Madison Restaurant at 965 First Avenue. Do I hear any comments or questions from the community?
I don't see any hands.
Okay. I do have one question. The application talks to the sidewalk on the 53rd Street side. And I know currently they have seating on the First Avenue side. And I don't see that, this has gone through DLT approval recently. Would you please address that?
They have seating out there now
Yes,
on First Avenue. I will talk to the owner because it should only be on 53rd Street.
okay, because I passed it
He might have
yesterday.
gotten used to, yeah, he might have gotten used to the COVID rules.
Yeah. Okay, are there
But
any
this is
com-
recent or back in September?
Yesterday, you said.
Anyway.
I went by yesterday.
Okay. I will let him know.
Not, I guess, Ann.
Yeah, if you can, if you pull up the application, I'm kind of thinking this is an oversight. But under section 3, it doesn't indicate, everything else is checked, but it does not indicate that the electrical work complies with the applicable requirements.
Okay.
It's just not checked, like, and because everything else is checked, I kind of wondered.
That's an oversight, yes.
Okay,
You need electricity to run a salon.
well, except that you could, I
That was a
mean,
joke. That was a joke.
dry humor.
You can never.
Okay. Any further questions? All right. So we put a reso and do I hear a motion to
Motion approved.
approve?
Second, this is a real presence in the neighborhood.
Okay, so we have a motion.
I'm giving you
Seconded
a
for
second.
resolution.
Yeah.
recommending-
And when you
On
speak,
the board.
when you speak to the owner about the First Avenue side seating, tell him not to stop the large portions that he serves. I love it.
So someplace you should bring your own takeout container, because you know you're bringing half of it out.
Absolutely.
So
And
again,
good desserts too.
Oh, yeah. They make them there.
we have the resolution recommending approval for the sidewalk cafe license for 965 First Restaurant Corp. doing business as Madison Restaurant at 965 First Avenue.
It's a lot more than that.
Whereas Michael Kelly, representative,
More
and
than
Robert
that.
Cole, representative, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27, 2025. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises and the dining out NYC license application process. The committee doesn't have comments about the cafe's physical footprint, pedestrian flow, or potential conflicts with existing curb use. There were no members of the community with any comments for or against. There are no modifications. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, CP6 recommends approval of the above referenced application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representatives to the committee.
Okay, seeing no objections, this is unanimously passed. Thank you, sir. Look forward to those desserts. Item 5, roadway cafe license for E&E Restaurant 2 LLC, doing business as Helen Bay at 581 Second Avenue.
Hello, hi.
Hi. Do I hear any comments or questions from members of the community?
I don't see any hands raised.
Do I hear any comments or questions from members of the committee?
Only that they have been a good neighbor and I'm in favor.
Okay, I do have one question. The schematic indicates a 12-foot clearance on the sidewalk. There are two permanent sidewalk shed type things, translucent. And, how wide are they? And they're not on the schematic, actually. Will that impinge on the 8 foot necessary for sidewalk pedestrian passage?
I don't believe so. I think our applications for the street seating, we're not putting chairs on the sidewalk.
But you did have chairs there, at least a few months ago, that were enclosed in the translucent or transparent, sheds. There they are.
Let me see that. I don't believe we have any chairs in there. That's just for the winter to keep the cold air out.
Okay, those are just passageways, you're saying.
Yeah, there's no chairs. Yeah,
Okay, but are those still up?
those are currently up. Yes.
All right, but you need them, it's not, and winter is, pretty much over.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. Will you take them down in warmer weather?
Wearing a turtleneck.
We have taken them down in warmer weather. I guess the weather patterns seem to always change pretty quickly. But I don't believe they blocked the sidewalk.
No, I think just again, by going by the 5 foot rule, we're talking about 10 feet already to the edge of the enclosure. Okay, I don't have any further comments. What?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you for pointing it out. Kathleen Collins has her hand raised.
I'm
Kathleen?
sorry to bother you again. I just had another question. I was looking at, I mean, I've never gone here, so I don't know, but can a person get into the place? Because I see stairs in one place and I didn't know whether the other part was an entrance into the place for a person who uses a wheelchair.
Yeah, it's a ramp.
Is that always there?
It's always there. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's actually a sign up that currently have a sign up that's been placed there recently.
Oh, something about if you need help getting in.
Exactly. Yeah, we have one there, and in the front that says if to go towards the back. Exactly. Yeah, the sign was. So this picture's an older picture.
Okay, so
But
you don't
the right
you go in at the other location.
Excuse me.
You go in at the other location that you have where
Exactly. Yeah, there's two entrances. Exactly, and actually the restrooms right. As soon as you go through the door, there's a ADA restroom.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm listening. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Appropriately worded.
He didn't finish that. I want to see the second.
Okay, let's go to the resolution.
So, a motion recommending approval. So we have a resolution recommending approval for a roadway cafe license for E&E Restaurants 2 LLC doing business as Helen Bay at 581 Second Avenue. Whereas Edward Bergman, principal, are Angel Allende and Angela Guerrero also here? Or
No, it's just Edward, just me on the line. I actually had a medical issue, but turned out I finished in time, so I got on the line.
and principal appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27, 2025. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the dining out MLC license application process. Committee doesn't have comments about the physical footprint of the cafe, pedestrian flow, or potential conflicts with existing curb use. No members of the community had any comments for or against. There are no modifications. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representative at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, UB6 recommends approval of the above referenced application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representative to the committee.
Okay, seeing no objections, it's passed unanimously. Okay, next one, item 6, roadway cafe license for Third Avenue Cafe LLC, doing business as Bank Cafe at 431 Third Avenue. Do I hear any comments or questions from members of the community?
I don't see any concerns.
Okay. I actually do have one question. If we can zoom in on the street side where all that foliage is. To me, all right. Where was I? You know, I have a question from the schematics. Just looking at this picture, there seems to be a lot of foliage that is encroaching on the pedestrian passageway. It looks to me that's less than 8 feet between the curb and the sidewalk seating. Okay, it doesn't show, but there it is. Yeah. Could you let me know or let us know how this would be resolved? It looks like it's only about 4 feet between that and the sidewalk shed that you had up at one time.
Yes, so he definitely overdid it during COVID, but all the foliage will be gone. He loves it. It looks nice, but he's got new rules. There's new rules that you have to follow now. So the foliage will not be included in any of the outdoor seating or the sidewalk.
I remember going past there and saying how nice that was.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it's
but, you know,
really a
it's only
shame.
this wide, it's.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Okay, I have no other questions, and
I have a question that it's in some ways not relevant to this, but this is directly next door to Smiley's, which has been a sort of problematic location for us on this committee, and I'm just wondering if in the past there have been issues with patrons of Smiley's using your outdoor space, especially kind of off hours.
What do you mean by using? Like in the area or like?
Yeah, like people that have gone in and bought something, because we know we've heard complaints.
Are they
from
not
the
loitering on the
community
street?
about that.
you can see from this picture that there, the
There's
table and
space.
3 chairs set up already in front of Smiley's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
we
that,
just,
sorry.
no, go ahead.
Good.
Yeah, so this shed was during COVID. So it's gonna be about 10 feet shorter. So we'll be away from Smiley's. It's not gonna be in front of the residential doorway anymore. And this did come up during the sidewalk cafe, I believe. We were talking about Smiley's, but they have posed no problems to us.
Okay.
Okay. Do I hear any other questions or comments? All right, let's go to the resolution. Do I hear?
Can I
Oh, yeah,
motion to
approve.
motion to approve?
In a second?
Second.
Technically, motion to recommend approval.
Okay. I was given different advice.
We can't get it right. After all.
For these.
I'll try another 50
Seconded.
meetings.
So we have a resolution recommending approval for a roadway cafe license for Third Avenue Cafe, for Third Ave Cafe LLC, I should say.
Thank God.
Doing business as Bound Cafe at 431 Third Avenue. Whereas Michael Kelly, representative, and Robert Hall, representative, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27th, 2025, CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the Dining Out NYC license application process. The committee does not have comments about the cafe's physical footprint and dimensions, unless I want to say something about the foliage not being there. And the committee doesn't have comments about pedestrian flow or potential conflicts with existing curb use. Whereas no members of the community had any comments for or against. No modifications were made. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 recommends approval of the above referenced application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representatives to the community.
Seeing no objections, this is unanimously approved. Just let me take a little detour over here. Have we gotten any complaints lately about Smileys?
Not of the nature that you're describing here. We had someone make some allegations about the people who are involved in the license, and but those have been reported to the OCM's Trade Practices Division, and they can sort that out.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Next question, is there a difference between allegations that happen for the facility and like situations that are happening outside? Does that work differently? Like if they're concerned about the environment versus how they're running it is.
The environment, as in.
Like the locale.
Yeah, like it's like people are loitering outside versus how they're managing it. Are those logged as two different types of complaints?
Yes.
Okay.
When a complaint is about like the license holders or their business practices, then there's a division, newly created division that one can report to those. All the other more mundane things can be directed to OCM, the regular channels.
So that's sort of the equivalent of, like we ask with people getting SLA licenses if they're not managing the crowd, doing crowd control.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the analogy.
Next one, where are we? Roadway Cafe license for 335 SFD Corp. doing business as Sunflower Gramercy at 335 3rd Avenue. Okay. Are there any questions or comments from members of the community attending?
I don't see any raised hands, but just before the meeting, we did receive in writing testimony from 2 members of the community in support of the
In
establishment.
support of the
And
establishment.
specifically their roadway.
Any questions from members of the committee? I should have asked, have you guys going to apply for a sidewalk seating license? Because it's not on this particular application, it's only for roadway.
Yeah. So we've applied for both.
Okay, so I guess the second one hasn't gotten to us yet. Now, as I noticed from your diagram, if you do have sidewalk seating, you only have about 2 feet clearance between the edge of a sidewalk seating situation to the curb.
Yeah, so during COVID, I guess our sidewalk seating was a little larger than they're currently gonna allow us to do it. So it's gonna be more recessed. There'll be more of a gap for the sidewalk.
Thank you. I have no other questions. I see no other comments. Do I hear a motion to recommend approval?
I move to recommend approval.
Second.
Second, okay.
So a motion's been made and seconded for a resolution recommending approval for a roadway cafe license for 335 SFD Corp. Doing business as Sunflower Gramercy at 335 Third Avenue. Whereas,
Thank-
thank you, whereas Ross Capitanos, principal, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27th, 2025, CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the dining out NYC license application process. The committee doesn't have comments about the physical footprint of the cafe, pedestrian flow, or potential conflicts with existing curb use. Whereas no members of the community had any comments for events.
Well,
Did
we
we
do
mention
have-
about the?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, thanks. They didn't testify in person, but they did submit testimony in writing. So whereas two members of the community submitted testimony in support.
Written testimony.
And I think it should be say specifically in favor of the
Right, in
roadway,
support of it,
yeah.
Well, that's the only
not just-
application we have at this time.
I wonder why you guys don't have the sidewalk thing. Do I need to speak with
Sometimes-
somebody about that, or?
Sometimes DOT doesn't get around to doing all of them at the same time. And so, yeah, sometimes we will get an establishment, both sidewalk and roadway, but many times we also do get one and then the other, sometimes separated by weeks. So
I see.
you can check
Okay.
with your DOT,
Yeah.
with your DOT.
I could follow up with the representative from the DOT that I've been in contact
Yeah.
with.
But more than likely, it's just that either they're still reviewing it or something like that. Because they always say, once it's actually ready, then they will send it to us. So if they haven't sent it to us, it means it's not ready.
Got it. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
And her to check in that, right?
Right.
Okay, hearing no objections, this passed unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Item 8, sidewalk cafe license for Zella LLC doing business as Elaine's at 226 Third Avenue. Are there any questions or comments from members of the community?
I don't see any raised hands. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Kathleen Collins just raised her
I,
hand.
I forgot to ask it of Sunflower, and I just have this general question for all of them. Do they have an accessible bathroom? Because I feel if you don't have an accessible bathroom, you shouldn't get the benefit of a sidewalk
Our
cafe.
bathroom, we only have one bathroom and it is a ADA.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Now it's for the previous. Although I don't know if you have the same question for Elaine's.
I have the same question for any and all of them. I just failed to mention it with Sunflower. I mean, that's just my overriding question. I'd like to know that they can say that they have an accessible entrance and accessible bathroom.
Yes, Ernest Gary for Zella LLC. Yes, we do have an accessible bathroom.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have no comments. Yes.
Yeah, and again, Brian, if you can pull up the schematic, I'm just concerned about the cellar doors.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry, I was a little concerned about the cellar doors. Because cellar doors I know are often
Open.
yeah, like they need to be used for like deliveries, for getting stuff from the cellar, bringing trash up. And it seems like they are possibly in conflict with the outdoor seating.
Well, the cellar doors are not, we get deliveries for food and it goes in through the cellar doors and we're not allowed to have the cellar doors covered. So the cellar doors are not covered and we do not have them in, there is no seating on top of the cellar doors. So we're prohibited from having seating on top of the cellar doors.
No, I understand that, but it seems like where the cellar doors are is kind of how you get into the seating.
No, okay, so there is a door on the 19th Street corner, which is the main entrance to the door. If you look over to your left, and that is the main entrance there. Now there is another door that is near the cellar that you can go out the side, but that is not the main entrance. Most of our patrons do not go in and out of the door. Generally, that is.
No, I'm just talking about for the outside seating. For the sidewalk cafe.
Okay. You cannot exit the tables where the cellar doors are. You have to exit the tables going towards 19th Street.
Okay,
Okay?
yep,
According to the diagram, you say here that the cellar doors to be locked and reinforced during cafe operation. So you can't get deliveries.
That's correct.
take your trash out.
But the deliveries are before the restaurant opens, and we remove everything. The trash out is done late at night after the restaurant closes.
Can we just add that in the reso
Yeah.
as a stipulation?
Yeah. Are there any other comments?
Motion to recommend
Recommend.
approval. Seconded.
So we have a resolution recommending approval. Will this be approval with modifications or will this?
Well, what is the comment regarding?
Just like sort of adding a stipulation that, the representative has confirmed that cellar doors will remain closed and locked
During operation.
during hours of operation.
Okay, so we have, a resolution recommending approval then for a sidewalk cafe license for Zella LLC doing business as Eleni's at 226 Third Avenue. Whereas Eleni Varelli, principal, and Amos Carey, representative, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27th, 2025. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the dining out MIC license application process.
Perhaps the Ann's remark go under existing curb use, whereas relating to existing curb use, comma.
Yeah.
The applicant has confirmed that cellar doors will remain closed during business hours. Because the concern was that if they remained open, then.
Yeah, it's just, it's.
Yeah, you can't get the
It can
two
be-
tables around the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd just be a hazard.
Instructions?
Yeah, I'm not even sure we need to say why, just like say that they.
Yeah, let's not
Will
say.
be closed, like they.
Right, just, yeah, right there.
Okay. Whereas, no members of the community have any comments for or against. Technically, there's no modifications. There's actually application. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 recommends approval of the above reference application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representatives to the committee.
Okay, hearing no objections. Motion is approved unanimously. Okay, item number 10, I'm sorry, 9, sidewalk cafe license for Mitzi LLC doing business as Elaine's Goods at 283 Third Avenue down the block from Elaine's at 226. Are there any questions or comments from members of the community? Okay. Are there any questions or comments?
Question, Ms. Collins.
Oh, there it is.
I'm sorry, just the same question of everyone is, do they have an accessible restroom and can you get into the place using a wheelchair?
The restaurant is accessible. I'm sorry, the cafe is accessible. We have seatings we just have a couple of tables, so we're not required. We do have a restroom that we allow the public to use, but it's primarily for the staff.
Just let me understand this. You're saying because of the size of the restaurant, you are not required to have a handicapped accessible restroom?
We don't have a public restroom.
20 seats in on.
Wait, what you're saying is that you don't have a public restroom for anybody in the public. Is that correct?
That
It's
is correct. That is, yes, it's for the staff. That's correct.
And you have no one on staff who has a disability that needs a accessible bathroom?
No. I mean, but if someone comes in with a child and the child needs to use the restroom, we will let them use it. But it's not a public restroom.
Thank you.
Any questions from the committee? Just one question. You are or have been operating a sidewalk cafe for some time. Is that under the pandemic rules?
No, we applied under the new rules and regulations that the city set up for sidewalk and roadway cafes.
Okay, but you're asking for a sidewalk license now for Elaine's Goods. And I know you do have sidewalk seating now.
Correct.
All right, under what regulations do you have the sidewalk seating? Because you're applying for it now.
Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Hi, sorry for the mistake for the names. I'm Eleni and the gentleman is Ernest. The name is not correct. We have for COVID. We have applied for COVID and we have the approval for outside.
Okay, so now you're talking, you want waiting for the approval, or you want an approval from the DOT for sidewalk seating?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you
So,
so much.
is this saying the business non-conforming legal? All right, I don't have any other questions. Members of the committee?
There appear to be questions.
I see somebody.
Ernest, well, I'm sorry.
Ernest is Ms. Elaine.
Spoke, but Kathleen Kelly has her hand raised. Kathleen, let me promote you to panelist.
This is a new restaurant. I'm getting a little confused here. This is another restaurant, or we just spoke about them and that they don't need, according to them, they don't need accessible bathroom.
It's more of a cafe. Think of it as a coffee shop, a small coffee shop.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kelly, you should be able to unmute.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I just have a question about the 24-hour diner. it's really difficult just to enter that restaurant, even if you just have a rollator with you.
Well, I don't know if you're referring to the cafe, to Elaine's Goods, but we're not open 24 hours, so I'm not sure if it's
Sorry, it's in the corner. It's another restaurant.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I thought you were going
Yeah,
to that
no,
restaurant
we open at 6 and close. We open at 6, roughly 7, and close at about 6, 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would note that actually for Eleni's Goods, that the website, the application and Google all show different hours. All of which seem reasonable, but you might want to just check that out. You might want to.
Thank you so much. I will. Thank you.
Okay.
Motion to something approved.
Recommend approval.
Second.
All right, let's go to the resolution.
So we have a resolution recommending approval for a sidewalk cafe license for Mitzi LLC, doing business as Eleni's Goods at 238 Third Avenue. Rose Eleni Borelli, Principal, and Ernest Gary, Representative, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27, 2025. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises and the dining out NYC license application process. The committee doesn't have comments about the physical footprint and dimensions, pedestrian flow, or potential conflicts with existing curfews. Whereas no members of the community have any comments for or against. Are there no notifications? Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 recommends approval of the above reference application so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representatives of the committee.
Hearing no objection to the motion, passed unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 10, moving along, roadway cafe license for Josh Mart Incorporated, doing business as Grill 21 at 346 East 21st Street. Does any member of the community have any questions or comments? Seeing none, then members of the
Yes,
committee.
sorry. Sorry, just the
Yes.
same question. Do they have an accessible, because I can't see from this picture whether they have an accessible entrance and also an accessible bathroom. That was my 2 questions. Assuming they have a bathroom that's open to the public.
Rosa Evans.
Would you like? Okay, go ahead.
Answer the.
Okay. Hi, good evening. My name is Rosa Teves. I'm representative of Josh Mart INC, DBA Grill 21.
Question for a member of the public is whether you have ADA compliant restroom.
Yes, we do. We have accessible bathroom and then accessible entrance because we have a small restaurant and you know the facade, the sidewalk is very accessible to the
Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of the committee?
I couldn't get at this. Did anybody else have a problem looking at
It was a
this?
late submission.
No, I saw it there, but it came
I
up.
couldn't get- Oh,
Hand raised. Sure.
okay, I see in,
Yeah, Rosa's was.
Yeah.
Okay.
in some prior images that there was sidewalk seating, I presume. You're going to be coming to the DOT for that seating, am I correct?
yes, sir. We already applied and they said they have to do the roadway first before the sidewalk cafe.
Really? Okay,
That's interesting.
that is interesting.
That might be the answer to the previous question.
Then again, depends on who you speak to at the DOT.
They had said that they were gonna prioritize the roadways, but that's why last month you only got roadways, and for a few weeks we've only been getting roadways. But then since we started getting sidewalks again, we thought, okay, maybe they cleared the backlog, but perhaps they're still getting to some of them.
Okay, any questions from members of the committee? Yeah,
Motion recommend approval.
Second.
Okay,
let's
so
go to the resolution.
we have a resolution recommending approval for roadway cafe license for Josh Mart Inc. doing business as Grill 21 at 346 East 21st Street. Whereas Rosa Tevez, representative.
thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27th, 2025. CB6 had jurisdiction of the premises and the dining out NYC license application process. The committee doesn't have comments about the physical footprint, pedestrian flow, or potential conflicts with existing curb use. No members of the community had any comments for or against. There were no modifications. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representative at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 recommends approval of the above referenced application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representative to the committee.
Hearing no objections, resolution is passed unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Item 11, sidewalk cafe license for Villa Berulia, doing business as Villa Berulia at 107 East 34th Street. All right. Do I hear any? Hello. Do I hear any comments or questions from members of the community?
Absent, approve. Sidewalk natin.
That shows it.
All right. We don't have any hands up. Okay. You want to put up the schematic? I want to address that in a second. Okay, I have a question, sir. You indicate on the schematic that the sidewalk is 23 feet wide at that point. For the handy dandy New York City sidewalk, with dimensions, it only comes up with 20.6 feet. So that means to me that you cannot have 10 feet of sidewalk seating. You have to have 8 feet maximum. Am I correct in looking at this sidewalk width?
I mean, yes. I mean, no matter what, the 8 feet is the golden rule. So we will always keep that 8 feet of distance. And the way we measure the 8 feet was from the actual, there's 2 tree beds. So we actually measure the 8 feet from the tree bed to the perimeter of what we're thinking, as opposed to the perimeter of the planters against the curb. So I measured it just with my own measuring tool. So I'm presuming the city has the correct data. But when I measured from the tree bed to the perimeter, I measured 8 feet exactly.
Okay, and you can fit in 10 feet width of seating against the restaurant exterior.
Yeah, we're thinking of nothing crazy. As you can see, there's these 2 tables that we had during COVID. So it'll be the same thing. It'll be 4 tables that would seat 2, 2, 2, 2. So a total of 8 seats within the perimeter. We're even thinking of getting smaller tables that are a little more collapsible, so we could bring it in a little easier.
Okay. All right, I don't have any more issues.
My only question was previously you did not have any barriers, but presumably you will because they are required.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely gonna have barriers. That's one of the regulations that we have
Yeah.
to adhere to. And also it'll present a little more nicely and it'll make it a little more official. This was just sort of like strewn together during COVID era. And we never had outdoor seating prior to that, so it was a sort of like a test program for us. But it was successful for us, and we would like to continue and make it even more official and even beautify it a little more. Make it like a real nice setup.
Well, I hope your diners enjoy that because it's a very busy street there. Could be noisy.
Yeah, but you'll be surprised. There's a lot of people that they like the view of the Empire State Building from there.
Oh. Yeah.
Kathleen
I need to go
Collins.
check it out.
Would like to speak?
I got
Kathleen, you should be able to.
Yeah, here I am again. I have 3 questions. Sorry about that. One again about it looks like it's accessible, the entrance, unless there's stairs on the other side that I'm not aware of. And then also an ADA compliant bathroom. But my third question is with the outdoor seating, you said you're going to put up some type of barrier, which is really important because I know people who have visual disabilities, you don't want them falling into your customers as they're walking down the street. So if you have some kind of a barrier around the seating so that they know that, these obstacles are there. That
Oh,
would be,
sure. Yeah. No, I mean, no matter what, we definitely will, and we must. That's part of the rule that we
yeah,
attested to.
I just
Uh,
don't want, you to have a problem or some
oh, yeah. No.
person have a
And,
problem.
and as far as we know, the guidelines, it says it's 2 feet 6 inches. It must be. So we'll adhere exactly to that. We're currently looking into it at the moment.
Right. You just need something so that, because these are like considered like protruding objects, so that they know that these seats and tables are there so that they don't fall over. You wouldn't want that.
And I agree. Yeah, so it'll definitely be demarcated and it'll be clearly visible that there is an outdoor dining.
Remember, it can't be just visible. It has to be, so if somebody has a white cane and that they can figure out that there's this obstacle in the way and that.
Oh,
So-
sure. Yeah, I mean, it'll be visible. We're thinking planters at the moment. Specifics, we're not quite there yet, but I think we're going to follow the guidelines no matter what, whether they're suggesting 2 feet 6 inches, regardless. That's
And
what
then
the
I just
requirement
had
is.
that other question about whether you have an ADA accessible bathroom, assuming that you have,
Yes, we do. I don't know if you pull up the photo from afar, there's another entrance through the left from the main door that has a ramp that
Okay.
leads right into the bathroom.
Oh,
Which is,
okay.
yeah,
So the person has to go outside to use the bathroom?
well, there's 3 steps that we have a ramp also if required. We find that it's easier just to go through the next door, I guess behind the van, because they also have a ramp and it goes directly into the bathroom.
Right.
Otherwise, we have 3 steps in the middle of the restaurant where we do supply a ramp if they want to go up the ramp there, or we have these. So we have 2 options, either through the left, yeah, right there, or
So
through the
you have
main.
to go outside and then come back in. Is that it?
Well, no, you could go outside and then, yeah, so then that's one way, or we have a ramp that we supply within the restaurant as well. So we give a preference to the customer, which they prefer.
Right. And do you have like some kind of sign in the restaurant to tell people that they can request the ramp so that they can use the bathroom and not have to go out in the cold in the winter or in the rain?
Yes, we do. I mean, normally they ask us and we just say yes, and we have it in the office. So it's always readily available.
Yeah, I mean, but I just would recommend that you have some type of little sign or something so that
Oh,
people,
sure. I agree. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
we just request that. Thank you.
Sure,
Thank you.
sure.
Thank you.
I will make a motion to recommend approval.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Paige.
Yes, I've had my hand raised for a while. I want to make a comment that this has been a long established and a very good neighbor to the Murray Hill area. I've been there a number of times. I'm handicapped. I went there when I had a rollator. I've been in one since I've had a wheelchair. I've had no problems. So I would recommend that we give a favorable recommendation, because they go out of their way. So I don't see any problems with these people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paige. Appreciate your input. So we go to the resolution.
Okay, so we have a resolution recommending approval for a sidewalk cafe license for Villa Berulia at 107 East 34th Street. Whereas Stephen Varela, General Manager, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27, 2025, CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the dining out NYC license application process. Committee does not wish to include comments about the physical footprint, pedestrian flow, or potential conflicts with existing curb use. No members of the community had any comments for or against. There are no modifications. Therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representative at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 recommends approval of the bug references application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representative to the committee.
Okay, hearing no objections. This resolution is passed unanimously. Thank you very much, sir. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, item 12, sidewalk cafe license for NFRF Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Street Taco at 358 3rd Avenue.
So, this application, the PDF that was sent to us by DOT actually contains the contact information for Elaine's. So we requested that they withdraw the incorrect application and send us the corrected application next week. So they said they would do that.
Okay,
But
so
we kept it on the agenda in case anyone has any thoughts.
That was my thought.
wait a
Eleni
minute,
Street.
I went up to the Airtable. I thought I did see a completed.
It was, but the information in there was like the
Incorrect.
same.
It didn't
Yeah,
look,
the
the
contact.
schematic didn't look like Elaine's.
No,
No.
but the restaurant
Oh, the
information.
information, that was, okay, so now the question is, when does the 30-day
Timing.
clock start?
Yeah,
When they send it to us,
Correct?
when
again,
they send the correct.
it's not starting right now.
Okay. So,
So you guys can either discuss it if
So
you
we can-
want, or ask the public if they have any thoughts, or you can move on.
just move on.
Move to lay it over.
We have to formally lay it over or just wait till next month?
Well, technically, it's been withdrawn, so there's not really anything to lay over, but for transparency's sake, as Brian said, we kept it on the agenda.
Okay,
Unless there happened to have been any members of the public who made
Right.
this special trip, maybe it's good to ask them.
any member of the public have any comment about Street Taco? Okay, Seeing no questions, seeing no,
Is there somebody here to answer the questions or no?
no.
Okay, so then we'll wait.
Okay. All right, that takes care of the sidewalk and roadway cafes. Now going on to liquor, wine, beer, cider permit applications.
The easy stuff.
SLA, okay, item 13. New application and temporary retail permit for an on-premises liquor license for BBYAA Corp. doing business as Cello Wine Bar at 226 East 53rd Street, West Store. Have we received the CB6 questionnaire?
Yeah, I didn't see one.
No, we didn't.
No, I'm not, I don't want to discuss this unless we have a questionnaire. Now, I understand they've been asked at least a couple times.
Are they here?
Representative has been asked. I believe though that Yasmin, Felix, are you here from, Cello Wine Bar? I think that you asked specifically if you were on the agenda. Earlier. You're unmuted, so.
The only concern is that by laying them over, we might run the risk of running out of time.
Well, I think, question is, they've been asked several times. And either through inefficiency or uncooperativeness, we're here without a CB6 questionnaire. And this is a requirement of the committee. So I don't believe that we should address whether we want to go ahead or not, make a recommendation about their application.
We just
And-
recommend disapproval.
Pardon?
Yeah, or,
We just
yeah,
recommend disapproval.
Yeah.
You could.
or recommend,
This is their third time, second time.
I mean, because the other thing, I have to say,
So I think we should just.
like, I don't
This is our last
understand
chance.
why it's not a transfer application, because
They're already there.
from what it said, it seems like it should be from what limited information. And also, it says it's a full food menu, but I looked at the menu and you could call it a full food menu, but it's a little bit of a stretch.
And I think it's appetizers primarily.
Yeah.
If that much.
Yeah.
And it's more a wine, beer type, laid back.
I mean, it might be a lovely place, but they're not here. I'm not comfortable voting in for it.
It's disapproval.
Somebody might be here.
I am here.
Oh, yes, we called on you before. Would you like to address the committee?
Yes, I am here, guys.
Where's the questionnaire?
You're missing, I thought everything was submitted properly.
We reminded a representative that it wasn't, and my last notes over here is that it would be sent yesterday morning, and we're still here. This is the second time we've asked for that.
Oh, no.
And Mr. Sam Park is representing you?
No, it's, Jesus, it's, ABC licensing.
Right, that's of ABC license.
Yeah. So it's
So we
basically a new, we've been open, we were originally across the street at 229. And then we're now at 226 since 2017. Or we just want to the owner, I'm going to take over the space. I've been with the owner since 2010. So he's moving to Florida. So I just wanted to put the liquor license under my name. So it's an application for a new liquor license.
Again, shouldn't that be a transfer?
It is.
I'm not sure how she, you know what I mean? Like, I trust her.
Transfer is deceptive in name.
There's no real transfer.
Yeah, they still have to get it in their own right, even though
And
it's
it's
called a
gotta be
transfer.
in the same location.
Oh,
Okay, again, going back to whoever is representing you, they have not submitted the questionnaire we require.
Okay.
Have you actually submitted your 30-day notice to your application to the SLA?
ABC licensing was taking care of everything for us. So I thought we were 100%.
They did not.
Oh.
We reached out to them like 6 times, was it, Brian? Yeah, like 6 times.
Okay, so what do I do now? Oh my God.
If they haven't submitted the
Motion to like
the SLA,
extend.
If you can withdraw your 30-day notice and then submit it to us again in like a week or two, that'll start the clock over. But probably what the committee should do is maybe pass the resolution you're going to pass. If it's a negative one, it's a negative one. But then if this thing gets withdrawn, then you can pull the reso and then start over next month.
Okay.
Do you have contact information for your ABC people?
Yes, I do.
You should have them reach out to our office tomorrow saying that they withdraw the 30-day notice.
Okay.
And then like a week or two later, submit it
Resubmit.
properly. You'll get a link to a questionnaire, or they will get a link to a questionnaire. They should fill it out and return it to us. And then we'll invite you to the next month's meeting. And it'll be like, this never happened.
But stay.
I'm sorry, guys. I thought we're all set. We were done.
Yes, sir.
If we were to do a policy resolution for, not approving basically, and then if they follow through and then pull it back, is that what you're thinking, pull it back? Because, I mean, full board is what?
It's
10
between
it's
now.
13 days away, and I feel like that's enough time for them to correspond with us.
Yes, so you would pass a negative resolution when they withdraw, when we get from ABC or whatever, then they withdraw, then you can pull the resolution and then start over.
Oh, good. Okay.
So we're looking to pass a negative resolution.
Objection, is that what?
Resolution
Yeah.
of objection. However, their application can be withdrawn
In the next 2 weeks.
within the next 2 weeks.
13 day, right, specifically.
But sooner rather than later.
So
And
I think what we're saying is we're trying to give your representatives a chance to do what they say they're gonna do without harming you.
Because we have a clock, and if we sort of just say, oh, yeah, whenever they get around to it, then the clock would run out for us. And so that's not fair. So
This won't hurt you as long as you address it promptly.
yeah.
Well, I will email them or call them tomorrow to withdraw and
Call them tomorrow, call them the next day, call them tomorrow afternoon,
Right.
But also,
we've reached out to them 6 times.
so you reached out to them as well, and
Yes, yes.
this is very disappointing. All right, thank you so much. Let me take care of it.
at one point, they told our office that they would do it, but then we never heard back.
and you might also spend some time finding a new rep, which is.
I paid
That's
everything
for a refund.
But the other thing,
for years with other restaurants, and we never had issues. We have like different locations.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to.
Right.
well, I'm just wondering, just as a procedural thing, we used to caucus, like have,
That's not really legitimate.
it's not a thing.
That's not a
Okay.
thing.
Just gonna
You guys
say.
used to do a lot of things. That's not really-
I'm just saying, it was an
Things that
idea.
we're not saying.
Motion of objection.
A second.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a resolution of objection for a new application and temporary retail permit on premises liquor license for BBYAA Corp. Doing business as Cello Wine Bar at 226 East 53rd Street, West Park.
The objection went away.
Oh. Yasmin Felix. Appeared before the Business Affairs Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27, 2025. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises and the license application process. I'm not sure if we want to fill out all of these whereas. But assuming Jew, whereas the establishment operates as a
restaurant?
What the frick did I just do?
So
wine bar?
As a wine bar.
Yeah, wine bar, okay. And, whereas the establishment current hours of operation are,
Let's skip that part.
Yeah,
We're,
let's get it, yeah.
we're gonna get to the part where we object, because
Yeah,
okay, so. Whereas the applicant's representative was asked to submit a question.
was not responsive after multiple attempts.
There's something community comments or against. Therefore, be resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representative at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, CV6 rejects the application.
And that's that.
Yeah, and there's no.
Seeing no objection, this is passed unanimously. Please get after your people to do what they have to do. We're not here in the business of turning down business,
yeah.
but we do need to have minimum requirements met. Okay?
Yes, yes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 14. New application, a temporary retail permit for an on-premises liquor license for Brooklyn DT LLC, doing business to be determined at 1003 Second Avenue. Do I hear any questions from members of the community?
Kathleen Collins?
Is there a representative here?
Yes, we're here. Rosa Ruiz, representative. I also have Tom Daly with me, who's the applicant. Good evening.
Good evening. I just have, it's my same question, even with liquor licenses and that, it's a benefit. And I just like to know that if you are, if your bathrooms are open to the public, are they accessible to people with disabilities? Thank you.
They are accessible to people with disabilities. I don't know if they'll be completely open to the public, but if somebody does need to come in and use the bathroom, we're not going to turn somebody away like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question. This is the old Redemption Bar. There was a fire in the building and they closed. Do you have any connection with the previous?
No,
tenant?
no, not at all.
Okay. I see you're in the process of renovating the place on the inside, at least from the window outside. It looks like things are going along well. I don't have any other comments or questions, members of the committee.
I just wondered that it said on the questionnaire that it was not residential upstairs?
No, it isn't.
What's above? I thought that was.
A tanning salon, what else is upstairs? You want to get a picture of the building?
This is upstairs.
Currently, the top two floors are not occupied, but they are commercial.
Okay.
Looks like there's.
It's a tanning saloon.
Saloon?
Absolutely. And the other thing I actually, another question was that, the question on our questionnaire about outside promoters was not answered. And it's a request for a 4 a.m. closing.
So we're not going to have any outside promoters, and we did answer that as to no. I don't know why it didn't take it.
Okay. And 4 a.m. closing?
Yes, on the weekends, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and closing at 2 o'clock, Sunday through Wednesday.
Redemption.
Was that the same as redemption?
Yeah,
I know, because I walked by it.
yeah,
And it's
that's a
it's
busy,
commercial above it.
that's, and yeah. And we'll deal with the sidewalk cafe when it comes before us.
Yeah.
Yes.
There used to be a roadway cafe on the street
On
side.
this, right,
It was
not the
abandoned
avenue.
when Redemption closed.
right.
Okay, I know it's been removed. All right, do I hear a motion? No objection?
No objection.
Second? Okay.
I'll give it to you.
No, you got it.
Okay, so we have a resolution of no objection for a new application and temporary retail permit on premises license for Brooklyn DT LLC doing business as to be determined at 1003 Second Avenue. Whereas Rosa M. Louise, representative, and Thomas Daly, principal, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27, 2025. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises and the license application process. Whereas the establishment proposes to operate as a bar or bar and lounge or
Bar, tavern, lounge.
bar, lounge. Whereas the establishment's proposed hours of operation are for the interior, Sundays through Wednesdays, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., and Thursdays through Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 4 a.m. And for the exterior, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. daily. The committee doesn't wish to include any stipulations, and there's no public comment. Whereas no members of the community have any comments for or against. Therefore, be resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27th, 2025, and pursuant to all the considerations, CB6 has no objection to the application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representatives of the committee. And I state a disclaimer that if there's anything that differs between what was presented to us this evening and in the application and the SLA application, then we urge the SLA to look at the application.
Okay, seeing no objections, this is unanimously passed. Good luck. When do you plan to open?
Wouldn't be open in a couple months. We'll see.
Good luck.
Make sure the
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
That's a good point.
Actually, the fire
Exit now.
Was it upstairs?
In one of the commercial.
Let's see.
Okay, item 15, moving along, alteration for on-premises liquor license for 192 TM Third Tavern LLC, doing business as Trionas at 192 Third Avenue. Are there any questions or comments from members of the community? Ms. Collins?
Yes, just the same one. Do they have an accessible entrance and an accessible bathroom if it's open to the public? Thank you.
They do indeed. Mike Palutis here. I'm the attorney for the applicant. I can confirm that both of those things are the case.
Thank you. I read through the material. I'm a little confused exactly what alteration request are you asking for?
Sure. So the this committee heard the DOT application for the sidewalk cafe and roadbed in December of this past year, and in January the full board voted in support of the DOT application. This is simply the second step in that process, where our client is going to have to go to the State Liquor Authority and file what's called an alteration application to include the sidewalk cafe and roadbed as part of its licensed premises. So it would have been great if we could have done this in one step, but I guess the way that things are currently, it has to be done in two. So we're here just for the same thing that we were here for in December. This time, we're just telling you we're going to serve alcoholic beverages in these areas, and that we're going to go ask the State Liquor Authority to allow us to do that.
All right, I have no more further questions. Does any member of the committee have any question or comment?
Why not make it one
Just that we should
process?
make it ourselves automatically triggering.
Again, these are two different agencies, the liquor
Yeah.
license, state agency
Just on
and
our-
DOT, the city.
I understand.
However, the SLA has said that if community boards want to sort of be more streamlined, they can do it.
Say like if you
get past step
approve,
one, you're
if you already
automatically
have
through step.
SLA approval for the restaurant and you get approval for the outside space, that it's essentially pro forma.
Generally, if they're open and shut, that's not a problem, but where some community boards exercise a little bit of discretion is that, for example, last month you had a case where there was some concern about how late the roadway cafe might be open. Well, DOT rules stipulate what those rules, indicate what those rules are. However, and they will not accept any stipulations on that. However, the SLA might. And so let's say, even though you can keep the roadway open till midnight, but if you agree on a stipulation where they stop serving alcohol in that roadway cafe at 11 o'clock, for example, the SLA might be more inclined to enforce that, where DOT will not. So it's for things like that. But if it's open and shut, you probably could just do it all at once.
Yeah.
Now, they still have to submit the paperwork for the alteration. But if you've already heard it and done the.
Yeah.
then you can save it until it comes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's good. All right.
And speaking of which,
Do I hear a resolution of no objection? No objection.
second,
Okay. Ryan,
So we have a resolution of no objection
on to the tape.
for an alteration on premises
I know what I'm
license
talking about.
for 192 TM Third Tavern LLC, doing business as Triones at 192 Third Avenue. Whereas Michael Paludas, attorney, and is Michael Brennan here as well? Yes.
He is here. Yep. He says hello, but he's on the video. I see.
Hi guys, how are you? Thank you.
Principal, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of the Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27, 2025. CB67 jurisdiction of the premise of the license application process. Whereas the establishment operates as a sports bar and is seeking to add a sidewalk cafe and roadway cafe to its liquor license. Whereas the establishment's proposed hours of operation are Sundays 11 to 1, Mondays 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., Tuesdays 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., Wednesdays 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., Thursdays 12 p.m. to 2 a.m., Fridays 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., and Saturdays 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. The committee doesn't wish to include any stipulations or public comment, whereas no members of the community had any comments for or against. Therefore, be resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 has no objection to the application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representatives to the committee. And a disclaimer that if there's anything that.
If they don't adhere to them, we oppose.
Yeah.
Okay. Seeing no objections, the resolution is passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time this evening. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, item number 16. New application and temporary retail permit for on-premises liquor license for Duo Trio LLC doing business as the Consulate at 563rd Avenue, also known as 160 East 38th Street. Okay. Okay. Are there any questions or comments from members of the community?
Kathleen Collins?
Just the same question, accessible entrance, and if you have a public bathroom.
Yes, yeah, hi, I'm Donald Bernstein, I'm the attorney for the applicant. This is the old Rio Grande space, it's been licensed since the 1980s, yes to both of those questions. There are multiple bathrooms in the space.
And at least one is accessible, wheelchair
They
accessible?
will be, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Okay, the only question I have is that, yes, the old Rio Grande was there. And there were complaints that they were encroaching on the POPs.
Yeah.
And this is something that this committee and actually the Community Board 6 takes very seriously, because we have such little in terms of green space in our committee area. And any encroachment on POPs, we are not happy about. And I know the Rio Grande did encroach on the POPs. And we would like to know whether you will give us 100% assurances that your seating will not encroach on the POPs area.
Well, so we've been in touch with city planning. We can have seating out there, we can serve out there, but it is public space. So anyone from the public can sit out there. They don't have to order food. They have the right to use the space and sit there and not order food or beverage. So that will be complied with.
Do you have signage indicating that?
I don't know if it's there, but if it's required, they'll have to have it. Yes, I think that they require signage.
It's required and it will be installed.
Members of the committee? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I don't understand encroaching on what exactly? You're saying that the Rio is encroaching on what?
So
Public space.
there's a
POPs
POPs
there.
and, yeah. And the previous,
Rio
business,
Grande.
Yeah, I live right by there, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
walk by it all the time. Yeah.
but they basically were like, this is our space. And it's like, no, it's not your space.
They've been there for like 30 years, since probably, so.
But so I think it's appropriate to have signage saying the space is,
Yeah.
is available to the public, whether you're,
Yeah, I could make that a stipulation.
yeah, totally.
So I guess I don't understand, what space is that they were encroaching on specifically?
There's a POP space there,
Where the trees are?
privately owned public space.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. And that is privately owned, that space outside is like that, or?
it's,
But it's designated at POPs. In order for the building to get certain
areas.
Larger
Yeah.
footprint or areas or.
You set back and create the public space.
so they got, they probably got to build higher.
Yeah.
Okay, because when people,
There's
so
two things to that.
when people sit outside
There are two
there,
things.
is that not part of the
Two different
restaurant,
things.
or was it
No.
was Rio? Because there's always people out there when I
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
by there. That wasn't part of, I just assumed that was part of Rio,
It is.
That's the problem.
but it's not supposed to be?
It's not exclusive.
Right, it should not be exclusive, that's the word.
I see. Yeah, because I would have liked to sit there with people, just, I assumed that
There
it
you
was,
go.
yeah.
There'll be a sign there now.
Okay.
That's what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, okay.
There should be a sign anyway, because POPs require.
Right,
signage.
saying
And it
what
gives-
the amenities are.
And it
all
gives
that.
the hours and.
Yeah.
whatever.
But I will say, I know that, I'd walk by there with people and there was an assumption that was, I
Private
lived really
space.
close and they just
Yeah.
they assumed that it was Rio space and people wouldn't do it, so.
Yeah.
I want to make sure also you got the letter that we submitted from the building, from the co-op, the board of directors that supports this application.
Yep,
Okay. Do I hear a motion of no objection with a stipulation regarding the POPs?
Make a motion of no objection with a stipulation regarding signage regarding the POPs.
I'll second.
Oh,
I was seconding.
Okay. The pop signage is the city obligation, or is it the private?
It's a city obligation.
well, the DCP
No,
requires.
It's a city requirement. Better to say.
It's for the building owner.
Yes.
Right.
And is that, can people see that? You said there's a sign?
It's supposed to be visible.
Well, sometimes it's tucked away,
Yeah.
But it should be.
it depends on what, like when the POPs was made, that's what
Okay.
rules govern it.
As some of you may know, Trump Tower has a Pops,
Mhm.
but to be able to find it is near impossible.
You have to be on the right group chat.
Yeah.
You'll find out everything there.
Brian?
So we have a resolution of no objection for a new application and temporary retail permit on premises license. For Duo Trio LLC doing the business
Top
as the
secret.
consulate. At 563rd Avenue, also known as 160 Street. Whereas Donald Bernstein, attorney, Kirill Myhalov, principal, and Hodia Myhalov, principal, appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27th, 2025. CB6 having jurisdiction of the premise of the license application process. Whereas the establishment proposes to operate as a restaurant, whereas the establishment's proposed hours of operation are for the interior, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m., Sundays through Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 1 a.m., Fridays and Saturdays. And for the exterior, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Sundays through Thursdays, and 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay, I do have one question, just reading my notes over here.
That's the one.
It indicates that you're gonna have live music.
Oh,
Where and when will this music be played, and what kind of live music?
So usually we have in all our restaurants we have live music, but it's something mellow like jazz or just like a low vocal. And we don't have it every day. It's occasionally sometimes like 2 days a week or 3 days a week. And it says like latest until 11:30. So it's nothing like wild.
Okay, and this will be inside the restaurant or on the
Inside
outside?
of the restaurant, not on the not outside. It's on the inside.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
So whereas the committee stipulates that there will be, that there must be visible signage to inform the public that they may sit in the privately owned public space. Whereas no members of the community had any comments for or against, therefore be it resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representatives at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all the considerations, CB6 has no objection to the application, so long as the applicant reviews all the representations made by the representatives to the committee.
okay, hearing no objections, the resolution is passed unanimously. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
When are
Thank you.
When are you opening?
I think late September or October, if everything goes well.
Okay, good luck to you.
good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, next one, corporate change for on-premises liquor license for Jackson Hole Burger Incorporated doing business as Jackson Hole at 521 Third Avenue. Are there any questions or comments from members of the community? Ms. Collins?
Just the same question, whether it will have, it has an accessible entrance and an accessible bathroom if it's open to the public, the restroom.
So, since this was just a corporate change within a family, we didn't think it was necessary to find. Yeah.
It's Jackson Hall.
Yeah. Doesn't appear that any representatives, however, this is a family change and buyout, no change in operations. I don't believe we should be discussing this any further.
Yeah.
No objection.
Can
Yeah,
I just make a comment? Wouldn't they be grandfathered? They have been there so long. I don't think the handicap thing would come into be a question.
I think it would because if you're changing owners, it's still, I mean, and also it's just good consumer neighborhood attitude that you should have an accessibility. It's a civil right. And if you told any other group that, hey, you can't use this bathroom, there would be an outrage, I would think, of hopefully the community.
I
But
agree
yes,
with
we're
you, Ms.,
different.
but I've been handicapped for the last 20 years. And
I've been
I
like-
go out quite a bit, and I would like to see every place be handicapped, but we can't have every place if it's been already grandfathered into it. A lot of times, that's the way the law works.
Right, but the law, even with grandfathering, there's certain things about after a certain time, you can't be grandfathered for 100,000 years. I mean, let's face it. If this is a family name thing, this is a change of ownership.
I think the question of accessibility is not on the agenda. It appears from a prior picture, they do have accessibility, at least through the front doors. I think we have to assume that if they've come before us and they've made their application to the State Liquor Authority, that they should be in compliance with the necessary regulations, including accessibility and handicap bathrooms.
I understand it, but could they
Well-
say it on the record if they are or not?
They're not here.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
I don't have any other questions. This is one family member is buying out. I think the son is buying out the father, if I'm not mistaken. So this is almost pro forma. They've been doing this business for many years at Third Avenue, and there have been no complaints about them.
I heard a
Already made a motion.
motion, I did not.
Second.
Okay.
Do have any? Resolution here. So a resolution of no objection for a corporate change on premises liquor license for Jackson Hole Burger Inc. doing business as Jackson Hole at 521 Third Avenue. We did not invite them.
You can remove that, whereas the above application was considered at.
Affairs and Licensing Committee meeting recently. Of Manhattan's Brewery Board 6 on March 27th, 2025, CB6 having jurisdiction of the premises in the license application process. Whereas the establishment operates
That's true.
this one as an American restaurant.
And I think we can skip down to whether anybody spoke for or against.
Whereas no members of the community had any comments for or against. Therefore be it resolved that pursuant, well, there is no presentation to be part. Pursuant to the application. Yes. The Business Affairs and Licensing Committee. At the March 27th, 2025 meeting and pursuant to all other considerations. CB6 has no objection to the application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made to the committee.
And if they don't, we oppose. That's what the last paragraph says. Figure that was
That's what it should say.
That was quicker than reading it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hearing no objections, resolutions passed unanimously. Okay, last one. New application, temporary retail permit for wine, beer, and cider license for 1075 Booms Chicken Incorporated, doing business at Booms Chicken at 1075 First Avenue. Are there any questions or comments from members of the community? Members of the committee? I have one question.
There's Ms. Collins has her hand.
Oh,
Right, same question. Just will this place be, does it have an ADA bathroom? This is a place that's going to be opening?
it's already opened and they do have
Okay.
ADA bathroom and it's ADA accessible.
Okay,
Thank you. The question I have for Booms is the questionnaire says your indoor capacity is 74 people. They have to be standing on each other to put 74 people in that location. Is this a mistake, I think?
Pardon?
Yes, you represent Booms?
Yes, I'm representing Bones. I'm the president of the Bones Chicken.
Okay. You would say the indoor capacity is 74?
Yes, the indoor capacity is 74. However, we only
Where did they go? I was there yesterday.
oh
You can hardly get 25 people in there.
oh yeah. So we giving out free chicken. That's why people line up there. That's why.
No. The question is, like, do you really have space for 74 people there?
To tell you the truth, we only have few table. I don't think the capacity is 74, but I don't think there will be like 74 people will be there at the same time.
No, you have five two tops and two standees, so that's 14 people plus whatever
Who
you could fit.
determines that? FDNY?
Sorry?
Capacity, is that a
That's a good question, something else to learn.
Yeah.
building?
Anyway, I think, you know, I'm sure it's a minor mistake, but, I don't have any other questions.
Probably just what the certificate of occupancy
Yeah.
allows.
Cause that would
It's
be
not
if there was
really-
no kitchen or anything.
Yeah.
It's not really a real thing.
It
Yeah.
may have had, it was
It
prior.
could have been a
That's how
bigger
many
space
square feet
previously,
it was,
out of the kitchen
yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
subdivided.
Yeah, it was, before that, it was Susie Sushi.
Oh,
And even then, you couldn't put in 74 people.
It's a good name.
say that 5 times fast.
Anyway, I have no other comments, actually.
Motion to recommend.
No.
No
this
objection.
one's- No.
Motion for no objection.
Seconded.
So we have a resolution with no objection for a new application and temporary retail permit, for a wine,
Even if that is.
beer and cider license,
Can't get 74 people there.
no respect for,
Clown car.
for 1075 Carnation Chicken Inc., doing business as Booms Chicken at 1075 First Avenue.
It's really cool.
Whereas, Wen Lee, principal, or is that correct, or?
Correct.
Thank you. Appeared before the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee of Manhattan Community Board 6 on March 27th, 2025, C6-7 jurisdiction of the premises in the license application process. Whereas the establishment proposes to operate as a restaurant, whereas the establishment's proposed hours of operation are Sundays through Thursdays, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m., and Fridays and Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. The committee doesn't wish to include any stipulations. There's no public comment, whereas no members of the committee had any comments for or against. Therefore, be resolved that pursuant to the presentation made by the representative at the meeting of the Business Affairs and Licensing Committee held on March 27, 2025, and pursuant to all other considerations, CB6 has no objection to the application, so long as the applicant adheres to all the representations made by the representative.
Okay, seeing no objections, the resolution is adopted unanimously. All right, let's try to get out of here.
2 hours?
Okay, I think that's super impressive, but can I ask, like, both new and old business?
Yeah,
Chair's
I'd
report.
like to give the chair's report first.
Oh, sorry, I thought that came after.
A couple of things. We've been talking about how to streamline this meeting even more. Maybe be more proactive in terms of what we do as committee members. I understand in the past that committee members did go visit some of these places before the applicant came before the committee. And one of them is to make sure that you see in their window that
Yeah,
the community board announcement is appropriately displayed. And I can't make this a requirement, but I'd like to make this a request that committee members who live near by where those restaurants might be, for instance, Redemption is 2 blocks away from me and things like that. So I was able to go and take a look, and they did have the CB6 sign there that was going to be presented tonight. So I'd like to see if we can, at least on an informal basis, see if we can get to some of these establishments. And perhaps if you see something, as they say in the subway, say something about the establishment.
Why don't we like assign them out basically, or have maybe a draft, or honestly assign it, but like people can put their names or something.
yeah, like it when we know what's coming up
Yeah.
and you know what's in your neighborhood, kind of.
We've had signups for various things in the past that haven't always worked. Like 1 or 2 people will sign up and most will not. So I'm hesitant to recommend that. One thing we are working on, once, and we're sort of, hopefully maybe by the end of the year, we'll roll it out, is where we will sort of map where everybody on the committee lives and sort of try to assign them to a quadrant of the district, which would require members on the committee living in every quadrant of the district. And then anything that goes to in that space, in that quadrant, those members will walk around and just look at and, walk by. But right now, I think Anton's approach, where you sort of get into the habit voluntarily of going is
How much before, generally do you get the items that are on the agenda? How many?
It can really vary. Sometimes, an hour before the meeting.
Yeah.
Sometimes even less than that, sometimes a few days in advance, sometimes.
Maybe the simpler solution is just to say, whatever names you have a week before, the Thursday before, just send an email to the community board, to the members of the committee, saying, here they are.
Or when you have exact, like,
Well, all you have
if
to
you
do
send
is-
me the agenda, right?
All you have to do is get up to the Airtable, and it's being added in, as
Okay.
each new one comes in, it gets added to the Airtable.
Trigger would be helpful, though.
Yeah, as I was saying, something
Notification.
just to trigger that, that they're there, because I honestly don't think of that all the time.
We could send you an email, but there are some
Okay,
people
you
that
got
I
think we
think you don't
send.
have enough to do.
Yes,
You
there are
got
some people
plenty
that
to
think
do.
we send too many emails, and then there are some, I guess, that think we don't send enough. So it is kind of hard to please
Yeah, why don't
everyone.
we just see how it works?
Yeah.
CB3 requires you to take a picture of the notice in
Right,
your
and-
window.
We do
that?
too.
Okay.
But I mean, you could
What's
put
to
it
stop
up
you
and,
from taking the
Yeah.
picture and
Just
ripping
check
it
it.
back down?
Yeah.
Whereas if you guys go whenever you get around to it, so that's essentially at random and unannounced, they kind of have to have it up until the meeting.
Right.
And that segues into another thing Anton was gonna say regarding the Airtable.
I just said it. The Airtable is constantly updated.
yeah,
Yes,
Good point.
so in the past, Brian would send out a few days before, maybe a week before, the Airtable. That Airtable is just, it might be good for you guys to either bookmark it
Yep.
or just set yourself a calendar, reminder to like every few days or every week to look at it. Because as as you started seeing the volume of applications that we're getting, do you really want us to send you emails?
No.
Stuff? Yeah, so if you just look at it, and it's the same link all the time, so it's not like it'd be different every month. You can then sort of just see like an inbox. Okay, what's come in, what's come in, what's come in.
That's fair.
It looks a little different from the public facing one. The public facing one, you've noticed we started doing that differently too. Maybe Brian can pull it up. But the public facing one is the one that's gonna dictate the actual order on the night of the meeting. But so as to get things up on the calendar faster, we, set up Airtable to just, all we have to do is click a button and it generates an agenda language, and people can click it, and it'll essentially just be live as the applications come in. And they're grouped per Anton's requests, because he said that you guys would prefer just to sort of, let's do all of one type.
Yes.
And then all of another type.
Yeah.
And so that's how they're grouped. So if you kind of want to see what order they're gonna be in, we may switch around a few things here and there, especially we've got multiple applications from a certain establishment. We try to group those together within, so there would be some change, but we're trying to make it so that there doesn't have to be so many emails and emails and emails that will invariably not be read. And to make it a bit more streamlined on our end and on your end.
But I think that's.
Yeah.
Is there is there anything to advise us on what to look for when we go? Like, are we just, like, what, is there an assessment? How should we assess it?
I think right now, start with the sign, just to make sure, because we asked them to put that sign on their establishment, so that if anybody walks by and they're like, oh, what's this? Oh, I want to say something about this, then they'll know how to come. And then, for right now, you guys are not inspectors, so we're not asking
No,
you.
but it's reality check.
Yeah, just kind of look, does anything look weird on this?
Yeah.
Does anything look,
We have permission to go in and everything, and
we can't grant you anything, permission or anything.
Member of the
But
public.
you go in as if you would go into any restaurant, so, but you're not there, you have no.
Assuming there's no badge.
You have no
Right,
badge.
right.
I have no
No
CB6
badge, no
badge,
guns.
so.
CB6 badge.
No badge,
That's why it's
no
best,
badge.
even just walk by, you don't have to go in, you don't even have to go inside, just, let's start simple.
Well, maybe go inside to check the ADA accessibility there.
Yes, yeah, certainly that you can do, certainly that you can do.
I made note to myself, because a member of the public made an initial question about ADA accessibility. I know, Paige, you usually ask about that, but are we all familiar, and I certainly am not familiar with what the ADA rules are in terms of restaurants? Now, somebody mentioned if you have 20 seats or more in the restaurant, you must have a public bathroom.
Great question.
It depends on the premise, depends on when it was built, whether you're grandfathered, when you're doing your renovations. Does the renovation require you to touch
Expensive,
plumbing?
yeah.
If you're touching the plumbing, then you are triggered by the ADA, but generally, if you are within the scope of the ADA, you need to have the bathroom and you need to have 10% of your seats accessible to an ADA person.
10%.
Yeah, not 5%, the way she said.
Huh.
You might choose.
But it's complicated. It really depends on the scope of the work, what you're renovating or building.
I wonder if this couldn't be put into the CB6 questionnaire.
Oh, that's good.
Are your premises ADA compliant? You have ADA compliant restrooms? Yes.
Yeah, member of the public.
No,
actually.
why not?
Yeah.
Member of the public actually recommended that. Properly, recommendation.
And if we're gonna change the questionnaire, can we add line numbers?
Yes, I know you've mentioned that before, we have 100 different things to do, so we're gonna try to
Okay.
get to those, but
Okay,
I'll just keep asking.
yeah, please do.
all right, yeah,
Brian can remind me.
Yeah, I think that would obviate many questions. How should I put it? I'm not interested in going back to the law and reading line for line about
Yeah.
what's compliant, what's not compliant, when should you comply, when you should not comply. et cetera.
I think we need to rely on private enforcement.
Yeah.
Of ADA compliance. The people who want to assert their rights know how to do it.
Okay. All right,
It's not really for us to get bogged down.
now, as you know, and I think we brought up in the committee before that renewals, we're supernumeraries here because the SLA just usually approves these without any comment by the members of the committee, but we're gonna bring them to the committee because there may be questions or comments by members of the public, and we should be giving them the opportunity to weigh in. Right? So, we're gonna be seeing more renewals that I had been in the past, just passing on and saying, don't have to go on to the committee agenda, but that is not fair.
New application,
Right?
the new application.
Well, we're talking about renewals too.
No,
No. The renewals, so the way SLA treats renewals is they, unless they have just committed heinous acts, they are most likely gonna get renewed.
I mean,
So
but we
community
put
bo-
in,
So community boards are not technically part of that process,
The renewal.
like they are the first time they get a license. Could we technically opine? Yes, but you will find that, again, unless they are committing war crimes or something, they are going to get renewed. What will happen is, if there really is an establishment that has problems and already has a license, I would not even think about it in the context of approving or
Right.
denying a renewal, and instead sort of bring them in only as needed if they are a problem establishment to
Right.
deal with a problem establishment.
Yeah, we've done that before in the last few years, we were
But it's
trying
always-
to mediate.
Yes, and sometimes, but it's always done in the context, it seems, of a renewal. By that point, if that's when you're getting involved, it is too late.
Yeah.
And I think it sets a bad expectation from the public in that, oh, there actually is a chance of, revoking. No, there is no chance. What'll happen, what has to happen when an establishment is a bad enough actor is that an investigation has to be mounted by the SLA. A license they say, we can't really avoid renewing a license, but a renewed license can always be revoked. So that's the process. And so the renewals will not really be coming unless they're really, really bad.
so you're saying we should just be flagging if there are problems with an establishment, we should be flagging them on an ongoing
I'm
basis.
thinking of the old Redemption Restaurant on 54th Street, where there were complaints. The sidewalk shed was in disrepair, they didn't take care of it, there was a lot of garbage around there. To me, that's something that should be brought to the attention of the SLA.
Yeah,
'Cause,
but as it goes,
Yeah.
like as it's,
Yeah.
although that would
But
be.
the SLA might say,
DOT.
we have nothing to do with their shed unless
Right.
it's serving of alcohol in the shed.
Right,
Well, I'm assuming it is.
so, or DOT then, we goes
Yes,
to
It's
DOT.
a DOT.
Okay, is there anything I missed over here? One more thing, Andy sent me an email, idea for budget requests for the future. Okay.
Really,
Not for Balk so much.
yeah,
Let's think about it for next meeting, okay? There is a formal form that can be filled out once we agree on whether we want to put the budget request in, whether expense or capital, bucket.
Well, I believe Sandy has said she understands if bulk doesn't necessarily lend itself the
it's a little
best
bit
to that.
different, yeah.
We could hire a neighborhood signage monitor. Questionnaire signage monitor.
That's an expense, not capital though.
Okay, any old or new business?
Yeah, I got two quickies. One is I just want to throw out, since we're getting a lot of questions, where we're getting requests for like both avenue and street locations and both sidewalk and roadway. Is that something we want to talk about? Like, do we want to have any kind of limit on, like, and I was struck by it because the first one we had today for Folia, they have 64 seats that are in there roadway cafe, like, that's a lot. So. Again, not today's, but just to kind of throw it out there for the people,
I think,
is
you know,
that
I
a
think
policy we
it's
want to think about?
very legitimate, consideration. I mean, how many, if it's on a busy avenue and you have 64 seats outside, doesn't matter as if you had 64 seats on the side street, which has residential. And, I think that's something we should consider, but the question is, will the DOT, which has already been sending us these forms with the schematics on it, with they don't talk to that.
No, but it's just more a question of like, we have policies that are not SLA or DOT. And is it something we, like, maybe we say, no, whatever, we're just gonna
Okay,
go
well,
with theirs.
we can approve it,
Something
and
to
the
throw out.
stipulation is on the approval form that the DOT sends us, no more than 32 seats. Can we say that?
Do we
I think-
want to?
I think it would be good for, since it's your idea, maybe to look through the DOT regs. I'm not sure they
They don't address
They-
that.
No, they
don't
don't.
classify
I
it
looked,
as
No, no,
I
no,
looked,
there's nothing
I looked
about
during the
that.
meeting. The only thing in the rules is accessibility to comply with ADA and DOB.
Yeah,
So like
and I'm not
the
sure,
federal-
I'm not sure we care.
such
I
a
just
stipulation,
something I,
like not
thought of.
compute to the
Okay.
DOT.
Yeah.
So we're saying that as when the application reaches us, the DOT has already basically signed off on accessibility. At least outside.
It's inherent. It's implied that you're
Theoretically.
going to be compliant, and if you're not, then you're gonna get sued.
The DOT has made
yeah,
in red, edits
Yeah.
where necessary.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
they say
which we have
that's-
seen on some.
I mean, some of the floor plan you flagged is not realistic, like, it doesn't make any sense, so like, they're not gonna put 64.
Of course they're
people
not,
out there,
no,
so.
because you know what, you literally would have to climb over the
Well,
table.
just
to
like
get
you
to your
can't put
seats.
79 people in boom.
Right.
I think they're just probably being advised to ask for the most.
The most, right,
as
and then they'll
most
put in what the traffic will, like, what the customer.
It's in their interest
you
to
know.
have a
Yeah, yeah.
comfortable.
And, so I guess that's new business. The old business is there any? Thank you very much for sending out the information about Flintstones and OCM. Acting on them or, and I'm just wondering if there's any new news on
Has,
that.
has a Times article come out yet?
Oh,
Not yet.
oh, there's a
Or-
Times article?
There might be. There isn't until it's out.
Right.
Though watch Signal, it might be there first. So there might be. So, well, I won't say any more until there actually is.
All right,
So watch the Times for the next few days.
cool.
One thing there is though,
Put up a
is that,
Google alert.
and CB2 in Manhattan has been doing a great job keeping on top of this. The OCM is, sort of on the cusp perhaps of trying to amend its rules regarding distance between cannabis shops.
Uh-huh,
They put together, we just got it yesterday and we didn't send it over to you guys because we haven't even had a chance to look at it yet, and you guys had a lot on your plate, but we'll send it very soon to all of you. It might be worth passing a resolution of your own. They've even offered theirs as a template.
yeah,
It is
good.
very detailed.
yeah,
And
Brooklyn too.
to figure out like what this board's opinion of the distance requirement is. Now, earlier this year, you guys passed, the 1,000 foot, that should stand, no exceptions. Shortly thereafter, you guys did seem to approve someone who was at 960 feet, so that was a little bit inconsistent. That person ultimately got rejected because of that 960 feet, but if they were to, for example, put a waiver in, what would you think about that? So it'd be good for the committee and by extension, the board to sort of sort out its thoughts on this, but maybe even tomorrow, we'll send you this resolution and you guys can look at it, but it would be good to have the reso ready maybe for the next committee meeting, because at some point in the future, the comment period will open.
Yeah,
It should have probably opened, and that's why CB2 has their reso already done, but it never did open. So they're just sort of waiting for that period.
and one of the Brooklyn CBs also has been very active on this.
I think
not sure.
CB3?
CB1 in Brooklyn, I think I saw some of their.
Yeah,
But we're trying, we're all we can do, again, like these resos, passing the reso is not enough. You have to
Right.
then do the shoe leather work to get your elected officials to care, to get the agencies to care, to get the media to care. And that's what we have been doing. I also had a meeting, Brian and I had a meeting with Mar from CB2, who has a wealth of knowledge. And she sort of did a bit of a brain dump, and we're gonna put some notes together to see, she has a lot of ideas. And so see if we can start incorporating those ideas into our workflow. It's a lot to just sort of go in one bound, but slowly we can incorporate some of these ideas.
Right. Everything? Think of
I think that's everything that needs to be covered for now.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. You don't need a second. Okay,
That didn't take.
hearing no objection, the meeting is adjourned at